This video is a brief history of the Klondike Gold Rush and of my adventure crossing the Chilkoot Pass. In 1896, gold was found in the creeks around present-day Dawson City, Yukon. As word of this find spread to the outside world, over 100,000 people began the journey in search of Klondike gold. It is estimated that 30,000 prospectors crossed the Chilkoot Pass in 1897 and 1898. Others chose the longer and lower-lying White Pass. One prospector was asked what the difference was between the two passes. His reply was, "One is hell, the other is purgatory." For those that chose the Chilkoot Pass as their route to the Klondike, they first had to arrive in Skagway or Dyea, and then travel 53 kilometers through dense Alaska rainforest, and climb over the infamous Chilkoot Pass before arriving at Bennett. They would then construct boats that would take them to Dawson City via the Yukon River. Many people lost their lives from drowning, freezing, suicide, typhoid, fire, and avalanches while attempting to cross the pass in search of their fortune. The Chilkoot Trail begins in Dyea, a ghost town that is a 15-minute drive from Skagway, Alaska. From the trailhead, the route winds through coastal rainforests along the Dyea River. The first camp along the path is Finnegan's Point, where the Stampeders would have found a tent camp, blacksmith shop, saloon, and restaurant. The next camp is Canyon City, which sprang into existence in late 1897. Canyon City was a tent city during the gold rush, and its ruins, building foundation, a large restaurant stove, and a large boiler are still visible. The boiler ran a cable tram which helped carry massive loads of Stampeder supplies over the Chilkoot Pass during the height of the gold rush. The ruins are accessible by crossing the Dyea River by suspension bridge.
Gold in my neighborhood, where all the old buildings stood. They keep digging it down and down, so that the cars can live underground. The swinging of a wrecking ball through these laughing plaster walls is letting all the shadows free. The ones I wish still followed me, followed me, followed me. Follow me, follow me. I remember a winter's night, a kiss beneath the street lamp light, outside our barn near the record store. Better than condos for a year and more. Now that our haunts have taken flight and been replaced with construction sites.
The goal for today is to hike to Sheep Camp just below the daunting Golden Stairs section of the Chilkoot Trail. It is also the last campground on the American side of the trail. Sheep Camp was so named because it was the base camp for hunters seeking mountain sheep. In April 1898, Sheep Camp was booming, and at its peak there were over 50 businesses including hotels, saloons, and dance halls. By July 1899, only 18 people remained in the town.
Oh, how I feel like a stranger here, searching for something that's disappeared, digging for gold in my neighborhood, for what they say is the greater good, but all I see is a long goodbye, a requiem for a skyline. It seems I never stop losing you, as every day becomes something new. And all our ghosts get swept away. It didn't used to be this way. Be this way, be this way. Please don't change. Be this way, be this way. Stay the same. Be this way.
Today is the big day, the summit of the Chilkoot Pass. The trail rises over 900 meters during the 6-kilometer hike from Sheep Camp to the pass. After leaving Sheep Camp, the trail passes through a large avalanche chute. On Sunday, April 3, 1898, Palm Sunday, a large avalanche struck the Chilkoot Trail between Sheep Camp and the Scales. This single deadly event on the trail took over 65 lives. The trail rises 300 meters to the base of the Chilkoot Pass to an area called the Scales. This was a rough, rock-strewn area and was named because it was the last place where the stampeders could reweigh their packs. To prevent mass starvation in the remote and inaccessible Yukon Territory, the Canadian government required every stampeder bring a year's supply of goods before crossing the border. Each gold rusher was required to carry 1 ton of supplies and food to survive the harsh and unforgivable hostile environment of the North. This requirement was enforced by the Northwest Mounted Police at the top of the Chilkoot Pass. After the Scales, the ground rises 300 meters over a distance of less than 1 kilometer up the Golden Stairs to the summit of the pass. The trail is made up of giant, sharp slabs of rock which make the footing treacherous. The Golden Stairs acquired its name from the 1,500 stairs that the prospectors painstakingly carved into the snow and ice of the pass, and has retained the name ever since. As I boulder hopped and crawled my way up the pass, it's hard not to think about the stampeders who had to do this stretch more than 20 times. At the top of the pass there was a warming hut and part-time Parks Canada warden station. This is also the Canadian-US border. The trail then winds its way past a series of alpine lakes, reaching Happy Camp.
Be this way, be this way. Be this way, be this way. I've described these monuments, a false sense of permanence. I've placed faith in geography to hold you in my memory. I'm sifting through these wreckage piles, through the rubble of bricks and wires, looking for something I'll never find, looking for something I'll never find. Digging for gold in my neighborhood, where all the old buildings stood. They keep digging it down and down, so let the cars can live underground. It seems I never stop losing you, 'cause every die becomes something new, and all our ghosts get swept away. It didn't used to be this way. 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 It didn't used to be this way.
Winter's calling, night has fallen. Could you always come around? Falling backwards, sinking faster, lost disaster on the ground. Turn this darkness into a spark.
The goal for today is to hike from Happy Camp to Bear Loon Lake. The trail meanders along beautiful mountain streams and lakes before reaching the tree line near Deep Lake. After Deep Lake, the trail enters a small canyon before descending to Lindeman City. In the fall of 1897, most stampeders stopped walking at Lindeman and started building boats. Once the boats were done, stampeders traveled 8 kilometers down Lake Lindeman, made a short portage to Lake Bennett, and sailed the remaining 875 kilometers downstream to Dawson City and the Klondike.
Careful to miss the mark. All alchemy, silver linings, crash like lightning, flash in the dark. Turn this darkness into sparks like
Today is the final day on the trail as I continue my hike to Lake Bennett. In the spring of 1898, Lake Bennett remained frozen. This led to large encampments of stampeders at both Lake Bennett and Lake Lindeman. Bennett had an estimated population of 15,000 prospectors. On May 29, 1898, Lake Bennett was clear of ice and the great boat race to the Klondike began. Before the day was over, 800 boats had cast off for Dawson City. Within 48 hours, the entire flotilla of over 7,000 boats was in motion. Little did they know that the good claims had already been taken. Bennett is home to the only Gold Rush-era building still standing along the trail today, the renovated St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. At 11 a.m., I boarded the train that was departing to Carcross, where I then boarded a bus back to Whitehorse to end my adventure.
Time